Hello, Reds fans. Welcome to the YNWA Transfer News Channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for your daily latest news.
Liverpool transfer news. Arne Slot to scour the market for Darwin Nunez replacement after Saudi sale. Liverpool are said to have decided to intensify their efforts to sign a forward once Darwin Nunez's exit has been confirmed. The Reds will face Crystal Palace in the Community Shield on August 10th before taking on Bournemouth at Anfield on August 15th in their opening Premier League game of the season. Arne Slot's side enter the campaign as champions of England, but despite already boasting a title-winning squad, the Dutchman has looked to make significant changes to his team. Attackers Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike have been brought to Anfield as part of an offensive revolution, while Nunez is one of a number of players who are set to leave the club. Sky Sports News report that the striker's exit will mean that Liverpool will look to sign another forward player, with links to Newcastle United number 9 Alexander Isak persisting. Why Slot needs more offensive reinforcements this summer transfer window. After signing Ekitike for £69 million from Eintracht Frankfurt, the links to Isak have surprised some supporters, who believe that it would be difficult to satisfy both players' demands on the pitch. Regardless of whether the Swedish number 9 is signed, the Reds' depth in the forward line will be limited if they fail to bring in another attacker. The exit of Luis Diaz, the imminent sale of Nunez, and the tragic passing of Diogo Jota means that Ekitike is the only established striker at the club. Mohamed Salah will be a starter on the right. Wirtz looks certain to play as a number 10, and Cody Gakpo is the likely starter on the left given he is the only senior left-wing option. Federico Chiesa could be used across the front line, but he has been linked with a move back to Serie A, and that would leave teenager Rio Ngumaha as the only option from the bench. Who could Liverpool target if Isak does not sign from Newcastle? Isak is reported to be Liverpool's number 1 transfer target this season, though the Reds' only bid for the 25-year-old was rejected. The Toon are said to be demanding close to £150 million for his signature, and with the Magpies struggling to find a replacement for him, it remains to be seen if a deal can be struck. Paris Saint-Germain winger Bradley Barcola has been linked to Anfield in recent days, and he could add significantly to Liverpool's squad. While he has predominantly operated from the left, he has some experience in a centre-forward role, and the likes of Wirtz could also be used as a false 9 if Ekitike was injured. Alexander Isak's camp hope Newcastle buckle as they try to force Liverpool transfer. Alexander Isak's representatives are set to ramp up the pressure on Newcastle United to sell the striker to Liverpool, as the Reds prepare another move following their agreement to offload Darwin Nunez to Al Hilal. Nunez is on the brink of a move to Al Hilal after a deal was struck worth an initial £46 million, potentially rising beyond £50 million. With Nunez's exit imminent, Liverpool are anticipated to push forward with their plans to sign Isak, having previously had a £110 million bid rebuffed by Newcastle earlier this month. Isak is currently training separately from the first-team squad, and according to a new report from the Eye, his camp are ready to start applying pressure to the situation in hope that the Magpies will eventually buckle. The report claims that Newcastle continue to insist that he is not for sale, especially given their difficulties in securing a new striker. Newcastle have already missed out on Hugo Ekitike, who joined Liverpool, while RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko is close to a move to Manchester United. Liverpool are reportedly eager to ensure any deal represents fair market value, with Newcastle valuing the 25-year-old at £150 million. The report also suggests that Newcastle are now considering a move for Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson, valuing the forward at around £60 million. However, Chelsea reportedly believe Jackson is worth closer to £70 M. When questioned about Isak's future earlier this week, Newcastle boss Eddie Howe declared, "You have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. The player has a responsibility here to be part of a team and part of a squad. You have to act in the right way. So that is also at play here. We will make sure that any player does that to earn the right to train with the group. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group as normal. Of course I'd like him to be there. But whether he will, I don't know at this moment in time. We have been here with the time difference. preparing for training and for games. Other people have been dealing with that situation back at home. Newcastle also continue to monitor Brentford's star Yoane Wissa, though they only rate the striker at £30 million, which falls below the Bees' valuation. Brentford are equally determined to retain Wissa, especially following the departure of Brian Buemo. Darwin Nunez fulfilled the promise he once made to Liverpool fans as Anfield exit nears. Darwin Nunez is finally set to leave Liverpool after 3 rather lackluster seasons. Optimism was high when Nunez first arrived at the club, mainly due to the fact that they were willing to break their club record transfer fee to sign him despite famously being rather tight with their money. That suggested that the hierarchy were pretty confident he would succeed, although depending on how one would measure success, most would say he has been a failure. Now, the Uruguayan is set to be sold to Al Hilal for £46 million, significantly less than the £85 million they paid 3 years ago. However, despite him never living up to expectations, there was one promise he previously made, and to be fair to him, he certainly fulfilled it. Darwin Nunez promised to give his all until he left Liverpool. The main thing that Nunez has been known for since arriving in the Premier League is for missing rather easy chances, with the 26-year-old simply being far too wasteful throughout his Anfield career. However, he still remains a much-loved figure on the red half of Merseyside, mainly due to the fact that he leaves everything on the pitch. Sometimes hard work can slightly make up for the lack of talent, and even though Nunez had quality in abundance, he certainly fulfilled his promise that he would always give 100%. "I wasn't the best 3 weeks ago, and I'm not the worst now," Nunez said back in February after a poor performance against Aston Villa as per journalist Lewis Steele. "If I fall, I get up. You'll never see me give up. I'm going to give it my all until the last day I'm here in Liverpool." Whatever anyone wants to say about Nunez, there is no denying that he did just that. He worked hard, chased every lost cause and never gave up despite the number of chances he missed, something he deserves at least a little bit of credit for. It is the right time for Darwin Nunez to leave. Although he is adored, if fans could separate their heads from their hearts they would reluctantly admit that he simply is not good enough for the level Liverpool are at. The potential is there, he just needs to flick a switch for it to come alive, although that just never seemed like happening at the Reds. As well as this, Nunez is one of the only players that Arne Slot has publicly called out in the past, suggesting that he is perhaps not the biggest fan of his, hence why it is the right time for both parties to call it quits. The biggest negative overall is that Liverpool have made a loss on a player for the first time in quite a while, with this one of very few examples of bad business done by those higher up. Liverpool's dream lineup versus Crystal Palace could contain 5 debutants. The countdown is on for Liverpool as it gears up to launch its 2025-26 campaign in just a few days. It comes as Crystal Palace have been dealt a major injury setback. Arne Slot's team will head to Wembley Stadium to compete in the Community Shield as the reigning Premier League champions, squaring off against last season's FA Cup victors Crystal Palace. In preparation for the new season, the Reds have notched up friendly wins against Preston North End, Stoke City, Yokohama F. Marinos and Athletic Club, while also taking valuable lessons from a defeat to AC Milan. Several fresh summer signings, part of an almost $400 million transfer spree, have had their first taste of action in these matches. Slot now has the chance to give competitive debuts as the Echo contemplates 5 new additions who could make up Liverpool's dream starting 11 this Sunday. Midfielder Florian Wirtz has been turning heads in pre-season. Unfazed by his hefty price tag, has shown he's ready to hit the ground running, netting his first goal against Yokohama. A similar sentiment can be expressed for fellow attacking force Hugo Ekitike, with the Frenchman assisting Mohamed Salah in his first Anfield appearance against Athletic Club on Monday. On the defensive front, it seems Slot has let slip that new full-back recruits Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez are set to be his go-to pairing moving forward. For the Dutchman, securing a spot in the Community Shield team seems to be a breeze, especially as Connor Bradley has been sidelined from recent pre-season matches due to a minor injury. The Hungarian, on the other hand, is vying with Andy Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas for the left-back position, and managed to secure a starting place in the second of two friendlies against Athletic Club, which featured a more senior squad. While it would be ideal to see Alisson Becker back between the sticks, the goalkeeper has missed 4 preseason games. Nevertheless, Reds fans will undoubtedly be thrilled to see Georgi Mamardashvili make his first competitive start, which seems the most logical choice given that the Georgian international has clocked up the most minutes of the two. Now, the question remains whether there will be a 6th debutant for the Reds with just 3 days until the big match. With just enough time and clear interest from the club, there's still a chance for Alexander Isak to sign for Liverpool from Newcastle United and make his first start at the end of what could be a hectic period. Given his impressive tally of 62 goals and 11 assists in 3 seasons at Tyneside, the striker would be a dream starter under any circumstances. However, there are so many variables at play that the chances of this happening for the Community Shield are slim to none. Firstly, Liverpool has not tabled a second offer after its initial $140 million bid was promptly rejected last Friday. Newcastle is still without a replacement, and seems to be losing the race to secure its top target Benjamin Sesko. Isak is also in the midst of recovering from a thigh injury that has prevented him from participating in any preseason games. Slot would then have his pick from his existing roster of Reds Premier League champions to face FA Cup winners Palace. Completing a 3-pronged attack would be Sulla and Cody Gakpo, who now has the chance to establish himself as the team's primary left-winger following Luis Diaz's move to Bayern Munich. The likely departure of Darwin Nunez from Anfield further solidifies these two as the obvious choices. In midfield, Ryan Gravenberch can be fully utilized as a Dutchman is only due to serve a 1-game suspension in the Premier League opener against Bournemouth on Friday, August 15th. This suspension was earned for a red card on the final day of last season, coincidentally against Palace. In the contest for the remaining spot between Alexis Mac Allister and Dominic Szoboszlai, the latter just clinches it due to his impressive preseason performance since being moved back into a number 8 role because of Wirtz's arrival. Additionally, Mac Allister has been dealing with injury recovery this preseason. To complete the Dream 11 with a central defensive duo, Virgil van Dijk bounces back from the illness that sidelined him for the Athletic Club doubleheader and dons the captain's armband to partner with Ibrahima Konate. Thanks for watching. Like and comment. Subscribe.